I am liberty. I am the living symbol of all women, creeds, and races. I am the hopes and dreams of all mankind. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send them, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift the lamp beside the golden door.
We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. 3.5 million men and women are directly engaged in the defense establishment. Now, this conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
For 20 years, first the French and then the United States have been predicting victory in Vietnam. In 1961 and in 1962, as well as 1966 and 1967, we have been told that the tide is turning. We have been wrong. The history of conflict among nations does not record another such lengthy and consistent chronicle of error as we have shown in Vietnam. It is time to discard so proven a fallacy and face the reality that a military...
My fellow Americans, not long ago I received a letter from a woman in the Midwest. She wrote, "Dear Mr. President, in my humble way I am writing to you about the crisis in Vietnam. I have a son who is now in Vietnam. My husband served in World War II. Our country was at war. But now, this time, it's just something that I don't understand. Why?"
Remember what the president said about Uncle Sam already spending at the rate of $100 million a day on this war? That's a lot in anybody's language. Production is rolling, and every day new production lines are swinging into action.
Freeman Hota has been named to rule the Dominican Republic, and U.S. Marines were ordered into the country.
Our role is to help the Lebanese put their country together.
U.S. forces are engaged in action in Panama.
To eject the Iraqi army from Kuwait.
Armed forces joined our NATO allies in airstrikes against Serbian forces.
In recent months, we have bombed Serbia, Bulgaria, Kosovo, Afghanistan, Sudan, Iraq, and China.
We've got to double it. Make it $200 million a day.
Our war on terror begins with Al-Qaeda, but it does not end there. If Saddam Hussein does not fully disarm, for the safety of our people and for the peace of the world, we will lead a coalition to disarm him.
If I were on Mars and I said, what is that country doing? I would say it is spending itself to death through the use of its military.
So then why does it seem rational to lawmakers on both sides of the aisle right here in Washington?
Because the military-industrial congressional complex has made it very, very lucrative for them to vote for military defense spending.
The military-industrial complex has become much worse than President Eisenhower originally envisioned. First, there's the Congress, there's the defense and aerospace industry, and there's the institutional military itself.
People say, by all means, cut defense. When you begin to look at what's likely to go away, people say, well, wait a minute, that's going to cost me my job. I'm not going to get reelected. I will lose money in my district, in my state, and so that's the real rub at this point.
There are the voices of arms merchants, war contractors, of people who just make money off of war. They don't care where the war is or who it hurts. They just want to make money and push the U.S. into spawning another war. And members of Congress have to be wise as to when they're being played.
And similarly, I've watched the magic of the FA-18. Fantastic, top of the line, front line fighter.
The easy movement of high-ranking military officers into jobs with major defense contractors and the reverse movement of top executives in major defense contractors into high Pentagon jobs is solid evidence of the military-industrial complex in operation.
Your Senate charged Cheney with knowingly deceiving the American public about Iraq and WMD, about al-Qaeda's relationship with Saddam Hussein, and with having violated his oath to uphold the Constitution.
He went out and used his congressional contacts, which he'd gathered over those 5 terms in office when he was Secretary of Defense. He used that, as so many people do today who go through that revolving door, to generate profits for Halliburton, and they rewarded him accordingly. Once he becomes vice president, he gloats over the fact that they decided after 9/11, oh, this is a wonderful opportunity to take on every terrorist that has global capabilities in the world.
We've lost trillions of dollars on these interventions. They were not what they were advertised. They've been an enormous waste of time, money, resources, and blood.
There's this vast complex out there. Now it's associated with killing people, with waging war, the ultimate public function. And it's not something that any single president could get his hands around.
It is in our vital national interest to send an additional 30,000 U.S. troops to Afghanistan.
It's now very clear that the Obama administration and Obama himself totally buy into that ideological line, which is that the United States should use military power to project its influence around the globe, and particularly in the Middle East.
He's also had this huge increase in drone strikes, primarily in Pakistan, but also in Yemen and in Somalia.
The United States spends nearly as much to maintain our military power as every other country in the world combined.
It's got us to bankruptcy. This country is the greatest debtor nation in human history. We're paying for both of these wars with debt by printing money. Basic economics tells you that that is unsustainable.
The dim trail ahead may not be always smooth, but at its end is a broad highway, a better way of life, not only for ourselves, but for all peoples everywhere. Together we shall climb the heights and look upon that clean and decent world, the democratic world. For so long as in your hearts you wish to have me with you, so long as you want me so much that you will fight for me, if need be, die for me. But above all, live for me.